Rational equations. In solving rational equations, we use the same principles. The goal is to put the target variable alone on one side and simplify the right-hand side. The difference is, aside from removing the same obstacles, we first look out for the restricted values. Remember that a rational expression is a fraction, so it has a denominator, and that denominator cannot be 0. So the restricted values are those that will make the denominator 0. In solving rational equations, because these are fractions, you will find that fractions are the main obstacle in solving them. So let's begin. Solve for C. That's not W, that's C. 5 over C minus 1 equals 6 over C. At once, fractions are an obstacle. So you get the LCD, which is C, multiply both left-hand side and right-hand side by C. And it seems like we just introduced a new obstacle, the parentheses. So we distribute the C. And that becomes 5 over C times C minus 1 times C. The C cancels, it becomes a 1. Now the same thing happens on the right-hand side, that becomes a 1. So we're left with 5 minus C equal to 6. That is so much simpler. Next obstacle to overcome is the unlike terms on the left-hand side. You have a 5 here and a C there. So we kick out the 5 by subtracting 5 from both sides. Again, I will not show the subtraction on the left-hand side because you know that 5 minus 5 is 0, so just don't write it. So we will be left with minus C and 6 minus 5 on the right-hand side. We're almost done. C is on the left-hand side, almost alone, except for that negative 1. So we divide both sides by negative 1 to give us the C on the left-hand side, and we come up with C equal to minus 1. We could have also multiplied by by negative 1 over here. So if we multiply both sides by negative 1, this becomes a C, and it becomes minus 1. You will get the same thing. So that's an OR. Next, this is not U, that's W. So again, we have these fractions, obstacles, so get rid of them by taking the LCD and multiplying both sides by the LCD. There we go. This becomes really nice because you can cancel the W plus 5. So you're left with 2 on the left-hand side. Over here, parentheses are an obstacle, so we distribute the W plus 5. 5 over W plus 5 times W plus 5. Note, we can cancel the W plus 5. It's a 1. By the way, don't forget to write the 1 there. Plus 3W plus 5. So you're just left with 5 for this first term. And then distributing the 3 to W and 5, you will get 3W plus 3 times 5, which is 15. So we have left 2 equal to 5 plus 3W plus 15. You have these to combine. That's an obstacle when like terms are not combined. So that becomes 2 equal to 20 plus 3W. This is an obstacle, 20, because it's not a like term with 3W. So we kick it out by subtracting it from both sides. So minus 20, you already know that will become a 0. So save your ink and don't write it. So now we combine like terms, just the constant terms. It gives us minus 18 equal to 3w. The only variable is the 3, so we divide both sides by 3. Don't show it anymore. Usually this is how you do it. But you already know that 3 divided by 3 is 1, so you don't really have to write it. So minus 18 over 3 equal to w. That gives us w equal to negative 6. Again, you can plug it in with your calculator and check if you still will have an equation. If the two are not equal, you have the wrong answer, so do it again. Lastly, here's an example of a rational equation where there's a lot of variables and you have to solve for a particular variable. The h is inside the parentheses, so we have to get it out. Again, the obstacle is a fraction. This whole thing is a fraction. So you get the LCD, which is g h minus f, the denominator. We multiply both sides by that LCD. And then we cancel the common factors, the top and bottom. There we go. So 1, 1. So now the fraction is gone. We're just left with an m equal to z times g h minus f, which you can distribute as gh minus gf. Right, let me write down what happened here. So we have m equal to z times gh minus f. So keep the m and the z, and then distribute this. But we have to put parentheses because it's a whole entity. gh minus f. Let me make that nicer. F. That's what we have here. So we now distribute the z because the parentheses are an obstacle. So we have this now. However, remember that our target is the h. But these are unlike terms. ZGH and ZGF. So we kick out this ZGF by adding its opposite to both sides. So we will be left with ZGH on the right hand side and the plus ZGF on the other side. Now we're almost done, except for this obstacle. We don't want the ZG there. We just want the H alone. So we divide both sides by ZG. So this is what happens. You divide by ZG and you divide by ZG. And that's how we get the answer. Of course, you want to put it on the left-hand side.